The general salute we listened to a while ago heralded the arrival of Chief of the Defense Staff, General Lucky Irabo. You are welcome, sir.
Mesdames et messieurs, la salutation générale que vous avez écoutée était pour annoncer la présence du chef du corps de l'armée de défense, le général Lucky Irabo. Mon général, soyez le bienvenu. Mesdames et messieurs, nous avons aussi parmi nous ce matin le chef du royaume de Borgou, le docteur Mohamed Al-Rout Antoro, celui qui a donné le titre de Jagaban au président élu. Voilà pourquoi on l'appelle Jagaban.
The fanfare you heard a while ago heralded the arrival of the Honorable Minister of Defense, Major General Salih Magashiri, retired. Your Excellencies, Honorable Minister, the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs and Inspector General of Police, distinguished guests, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen, announcing the arrival of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, His Lordship, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, Grand Commander of the Order of the Niger.
And the host with me, if it's my younger brother, see, would get a point. Yes, sir. If I'm a salary to the below me, I let him say, you understand? So when you're about talking magic, so what's in bank back? A salary, you see the land of Trout. No, I'm being good to you, but I'll share more. What did you go through? Tell me what did you go through? More happy in that road. And one job with more people and need to come. People say, "But the no, tell him, Mama, you are in there for that. No. There is like me, most like me did become. Me, somebody. You understand? Me, somebody need the share. This is my 18 years. Yes. But like that's it. Last 20 for the movement. It's mine. Achievement, the first one, Moshe voiceover from Secretary to the State Government of Osun State. Abdul Karim Akiade. You understand? So go corporation in OSBC, Osun State Broadcasting Corporation, and start with voice if you need. If I'm no, this is my calling. But this is my calling. Any company don't talk with me. Don't go on there, Georgia. All the benefit, government be voice titanium. Come on, start by the one IT, no voice, one IT government. Nigeria, all Idu Wereni. Iru Almighty, and government appreciate it. I understand. Everybody wants to and she man lo Keda IT because voice for the SS. Meanwhile, corporation people you're trying to make 50 company. This is my 18 years. That one, ẹ lè pe Sunday kẹrin bí lè rí mo nídìí iṣẹ́ yá.
Mesdames et messieurs,
Láti
j'ai le grand
download ẹ̀.
plaisir d'annoncer la présence du juge en chef du Nigeria,
Hello, sir.
Sa Seigneurie, la justice Kayode, Olukayode Ariwola. Son Excellence, soyez le bienvenu.
Distinguished guests, the fanfare we listened to a while ago heralded the arrival of the Chief Justice of Nigeria. You're welcome, Your Lordship. At this juncture, may I hand over to my co-compare, Captain Anebi Ababa.
Thank you very much, Flight Lieutenant Festus Ezenyi, for the commentary so far. Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, it's still dignitaries' arrival unfolding here at the Eagle Square, where activities climaxing the presidential inauguration and swearing-in ceremony between the outgoing president and the president-elect. Your Excellencies, visiting President, Your Excellencies, former President, His Lordship, the Chief Justice of Nigeria, the Chief of Defense Staff, Service Chiefs and the Inspector General of Police, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen. This is announcing the arrival of the Senate President and the Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives. This is announcing the arrival of the Senate President and the Honorable Speaker, House of Representatives.
Mesdames et messieurs, l'honneur d'annoncer la présence du président du Sénat, Ahmed Lawal, et le président de la Chambre des représentants, son Excellence, Honorable Vajabi Amila. Bienvenue, Excellence.
Went on. We've also seen the arrival of the Deputy President of the Senate, Ovie Omoagige. The Chief Justice of Nigeria also arrived while the military ceremonies went on. Well, there you see the Deputy Senate President and the National Chairman of the All Progressives Congress exchanging pleasantries there.
With the National Chairman of the APC, Senator Abdullahi Adamu. And of course, right sitting beside him there is the Babangana Kingibe. Yeah.
Indeed, we've also seen the arrival of the Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Olukayode Ariwola, a very, very important aspect or part of this ceremony. He's going to be administering the oath of office, which will be taken much later today. We've also seen the arrival of the Chief of Defense Staff. He's also called the Chief of Chiefs, General Leo Irabo. I'm sure he'll be here in the company of the other chiefs, the Chief of Army Staff, the Chief of Naval Staff, the Chief of Defense Staff, and of course the Inspector General of Police. I imagine the court order, which we heard, has it been cleared?
Look, I mean, the man has been doing his duties as the IG. He was here yesterday to inspect the grounds, and I guess that is playing that duty despite, I mean, I'm not sure the position of the court on that matter, but I understand that there was a court order. But we've seen the Inspector General of Police, like Malware mentioned. We've also seen the Chief of Defense Staff, which another title I've heard today. We'll keep learning. Chief of Chiefs, you call him.
Yeah.
Also.
And all of them being warmly welcomed by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, Mr. Boss Mustafa. He's certainly the one in charge of all of the arrangements we've seen being put together. Everything in terms of the arrangement being witnessed here in Eagle Square has been coordinated by the Office of the Secretary to the Government of the Federation.
Also, I cited earlier the South African President, Cyril Ramaphosa, who was also received by the SGF. And of course, in line with the arrangement and the order of events here, we have seen up to the arrival of the Vice President-elect, and what we have not seen is the arrival of the President-elect, which in that order, arrival of the Chief Justice, arrival of the Speaker, arrival of former heads of state. I've seen former President Goodluck Jonathan arrive on the grounds today. Arrival of visiting president and delegation. We're seeing members of the diplomatic corps and some leaders across the globe. They also have arrived. Arrival of the visiting president and delegations, of course. Arrival of the Vice President-elect. We've seen Vice President-elect Kashim Shettima.
Yes.
But I'm not sure that the President-elect has arrived yet.
And you know, Sean, in these matters, protocol is extremely important.
Absolutely.
The order of arrival is deliberately done to show the importance of each person, and hierarchy in matter of things. So, so far so good. All of the arrivals which we've seen are in order. And
that
we certainly will...
is the Senate President,
indeed,
Ahmed Lawan.
the third in command, and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila, is with him. So they're arriving in company of each other.
The chairman and the vice chairman of the National Assembly.
Indeed. So they're going to receive their salute.
Yeah. So that means very soon.
That's them standing on the podium.
Yes, indeed.
They're going to be saluted by the military.
Absolutely.
I mean, these are significant event, and a lot of people might be asking question the presence and the parade or the showing of Nigerian military all over the world, and this are significant showing to show the strength, to show the organization of both the institutions of government, from military to political institutions in the country. And so you can see the synergy and how these entities are interwoven. So you can see the two heads of the different arms of the National Assembly, the green and the red chambers, the Senate President and the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila.
So very soon we just might witness the arrival of the president and the president-elect, because I haven't seen.
Well, indeed, the vice president will come in before the president,
that, yes.
And indeed, the president-elect is expected to have been seated before the president shows up. He is the last person who shows up, and then the event.
And as soon as he arrives, the
event
national
starts.
anthem, the event starts. The arrival of President Muhammadu Buhari signals that this event can commence. He is the chair of this event until the moment when the president-elect gets to the podium, takes his oath of office. In fact, we understand by protocol that the sitting president then has to leave immediately, because the chair in which, just look at it significantly, the chair in which President Buhari will be sitting will have the coat of arms on it, and as soon as Bola Tinubu, the president-elect, gets sworn in, that chair cannot be occupied again by President Buhari. It will be occupied by Bola Tinubu, and then President Buhari will have to leave the arena. That is how the protocol has been maintained over the years.
And that is, of course, what we expect to play out here today when that happens. So that will also be bringing you all of those. So when he does arrive, we will have the national anthem. Then the event kicks off with the opening prayers, the swearing of the vice president. The president-elect himself will also be sworn in by the Chief Justice of Nigeria. So all of those events will happen. You see the formal handing over of flags.
Chamberlain, that the vice president was commissioner.
Looks like we're witnessing the arrival of the president-elect. Yes, indeed, the man of the moment is in the square, and you could hear the cheers from the crowd when he got in. The security men seem to be having quite a bit of challenge ushering him in there. You can see them fighting somewhat to ensure that he has a smooth passage into that particular arena. Quite a bit of a scenario there, usually quite tough among the security agencies.
This kind of scenario, Mark, where we've seen a few times that this has happened. We see uniformed men and men who are also security agents who are not in uniform. So there you go,
President-elect and his wife.
Absolutely.
Senator Oluremi Tinubu arriving together.
And again, the SGF also playing his role there, welcoming all of them as the chief host. Yes.
He's a man who is midwifing the transition. His office actually midwives transition process in the country. And I was going to mention to you, as soon as the president-elect arrives, the next person to arrive is a vice president, Professor Yemi Osinbajo. And when we were talking about the man Bola Tinubu, we know that Professor Yemi Osinbajo served as the Attorney General under his government at the time. And so it's interesting, the twist of fate. I mean, our life, things happen, the turns and twists of life, where you have a city vice president who was a former commissioner under the president-elect. So now, you see, things are just churning, and this is how life is, isn't it?
That's what happens to those kind of offices. So the offices just naturally, they just take shape when whoever occupies all of those. So yes, as you highlighted, when after the vice president arrives, the president will arrive himself, and there you'll then have all the other activities kick on after the president does arrive. So all of those formal handing over of flags by the outgoing president, lowering, hoisting of national and defense flags for the armed forces, inspection of parade by presidents and the commander-in-chief, the march past in slow and quick time will also happen.
In fact, Chamberlain, based on the order of events, we are 2 minutes ahead of time. The president-elect is slated to arrive at 9:50 a.m. He had arrived earlier than scheduled. So this event, with what we're looking at, might just start very much on cue, right on time.
Well, that's the hope. Shewon, the hope also is that the president-elect will maintain that particular culture even as he becomes president. President Buhari, for all the criticisms that people will have for him, one thing you could not fault him for was being late to events. He was a stickler for time, and I think that designation, African time or Nigerian time, took on a new designation. Indeed, the arrival of the president of Rwanda, Paul Kagame, into the state box is also being witnessed right there on television. So we see the arrival of more heads of governments arrive in Nigeria for this auspicious occasion, the inauguration of the 16th president of Nigeria.
Well, to see Goodluck Jonathan, former president, also reaching out and welcoming some of the dignitaries. I remember he played an international role under this government, peacekeeping role in West Africa, in Africa generally. So he's met a lot of them several times. Even while he was president, Paul Kagame was still there. So that
there will be a lot of banter to be exchanged. I mean, plenty of backpatting and meeting up, catching up perhaps to do before the arrival of the president. We also see
Senator Godswill Akpabio as well there.
Well, there'll be big questions to ask as to whether or not he's going to make it. Will he be Senate President of the 10th Assembly? It's still unclear. Yes, but hey, he's arrived and he's heading straight to the state box.
And I'm assuming, and from what I'm saying, the Vice President might be arriving any moment from now. Some of the persons that I know that had worked around his office, I've seen quite a few of them right on the grounds right there on your screen. We might be seeing the arrival of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo.
Yeah, so if he does arrive now, he'll be, 5 minutes earlier than scheduled. So that was quite
interesting, actually. I mean, look, there are a lot of activities and events that have happened on the continent of Africa, and some of the heads of governments that have arrived today will definitely have a lot of things that they will remember themselves of, things that they've done together. And of course, you say a former governor of Borno State, Senator Ali Modu Sharif, who was the predecessor to the vice president-elect, Senator Kashim Shettima.
They have nicknames for some of these governors. They call him SAS.
SAS, yeah.
So, there you go. So,
all right, there you have it, Chamberlain. I said it.
It's like a German national arriving here.
Yeah.
So,
yes, another head of Ghana. Looks like we're seeing the arrival of the president of Ghana. Perhaps another president right behind him, but we did say that a number of heads of government are arriving at this time. You will see them being welcomed. They're coming down from their vehicles. Some of them have come with their wives, and you will see the flags on their vehicles. And I know the very first one I saw in front was the flag of Ghana. So I imagine that will be the president of Ghana arriving at this moment.
Our brother country. Our sister country. Where you might call it. We have a very strong affinity here in terms of jollof rice and a lot of things that you might be able to remember. Ghana, definitely.
They're not so far from us anyways.
Absolutely.
So there you go. That is the Ghanaian president, Nana Akufo-Addo, just coming in. Also been received by the SGF. So there's another dignitary just passed by our line of sight here. So he's not in the cameras yet. So he might be within the premises in a matter of minutes, as a matter of fact. So we'll know who is in that convoy that will be arriving soon. So
one person's hand, Chamberlain, that needs to be perhaps maybe after this event wash his hands and keep the water in the museum. It will be the boss Mustafa, the SGF, welcoming and shaking hands with with all the dignitaries and the big men and women who have arrived here today. Is indeed one moment that he may not forget in a hurry in his life. He's held a very important position in this country before now, but this very occasion has put on him so much duty and responsibility, and I guess that shaking hands and welcoming and making these heads of government feel at home in our very lovely, very wonderful, and very beautiful nation of Nigeria will be a delight to not only himself but his family also.
Oh yes, because I mean his office, very hectic schedule, organizing all of these events, various committees which he chairs for this particular purpose, all coming to fruition today, even as we speak. And more dignitaries hopefully will arrive soon before the president arrives, after which the event will kick off with the national anthem. So all of that, we're keeping tabs and watching and bringing them to you as we get them here. So you can see the Inspector General of Police there also.
Beside the Chief of Air Staff, and right beside the Chief of Air Staff on the other side is the Chief of Naval Staff, and then you also have the Chief of Army Staff. I'm sure he's also seated right beside the Chief of Defense Staff. Oh, we see the arrival.
Yet another.
Looks like
this is the Nigerian flag. I assume this is the arrival of the Vice President, Professor Yemi Oshibajo. I think I guessed right.
Because he's the one next in line to arrive.
Absolutely. So, and was slated to arrive what time?
55.
9:55.
So he's just right there, just on cue.
Just on cue. So this is actually going to plan, according to plan.
According to protocol.
Protocols, actually, too. This
so there you go.
is one of the highly ranked traditional, absolutely, the Oni of Ife, Oba.
And then you could also see the NDLEA boss over months and weeks.
Who also led Lagos State for a while.
Yes.
Which was the state that the president-elect was governor over shortly after he was a military administrator of Lagos State. So quite a bit of bit of activities tie them together.
to all the rapid
And if
response
you look at
squads.
behind the Oni of Ife, he's one of the children of the president-elect. That's Yaloja of Lagos said, Folashade Tinubu.
So he's going to be coming down very soon.
So this is the arrival of Nigeria's number 2 man as of this hour. For the last 8 hours, he's carried that title of office, and today it might just be shedding that weight and load and to look to something else. In fact, it's been given yet another responsibility to monitor another election and an election on the continent. But today, his focus will be reminiscing on the experience of the last 8 years. What a moment that has been in his life. His work with a president that he said they shared a lot of lovely moments. When the president took ill for over 6 months, he was out of the country. He was in the saddle. He was being regarded as one man who stepped up to the plate and did his best, and no one felt the absence of the president. That's in itself applaud the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, for.
And some of the things that people were quick to remind us of was the performance of the Naira against the dollar when he took the saddle at that point in time. So there he is, the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who was also a senior advocate of Nigeria, arriving, alighting from his convoy, received by the SGF, who is the chief organizer of this event. So he's going now to take his seat, but we all know after his convoy clears, will be the president.
Excellent. But this will not come this will not go rather without the Vice President getting his own taste of the military salute.
Yeah.
You may now please take your seat.
Asseyez-vous, s'il vous plaît.
The national anthem we listened to a while ago
will be when the president arrives. So that will.
Indeed.
So there you go. That appears to be the convoy of the president on the way. There you go. It's in that line of sight again, as we did see that of the president, the vice president. So in a matter of minutes or seconds, you just see it just come through where the cameras. Well, we have sighted him here, but pretty soon he will be in shot.
Absolutely.
And then the event.
So we could hear the siren blowing and
ushering him in. And one of the things that marks the president's arrival is that you begin to see activity in the state box. All of the VIPs, at least the significant members of the VIP, will come out, will file out to welcome him to that state box for the very last time. You can see that happening already. Filing out, the vice president will be there, the Senate president will be there, the speaker, all of them standing out there. You can see the NSA as well, and top government functionary, all of them going to stand in line in order of their hierarchy to welcome him to the square for the last time as president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
Absolutely.
Wow.
The kind of courtesy and protocol you see for only one man, even when he's traveling out of the country, you see people queue and line up in that order and usher him out of the country. And when he arrives too, top government officials also do the same. And this is the moment Nigeria has been waiting for. The world is, eyes of the world is on Nigeria, and the moment is almost here.
So there you
when
go.
this man arrives, Chamberlain.
Absolutely.
Indeed, you can already see the bagpipes. The bagpipes usher the president into the square. The moment they start to play, the military, the armed forces get the signal that indeed the CNC is around. Their special sound ushers him into the square. And any moment from now, you'll hear their very unique, distinctive sound.
That's the wife of the president.
Oh, yes,
Aisha Buhari.
The wife of the president is here. It's interesting that they arrive separately. The wife of the president is arriving by herself this time around.
That the kind of protocol that ushers in the president perhaps is only for that office.
Indeed.
And as such that they might have to ride in different vehicles, but now this shows us something. They left the house almost at the same time, but they're arriving on this ground at just a few seconds apart. So indeed, the moment is almost upon us, Chamberlain Markwe, and the hour is almost here. And from the schedule, in the next 14 minutes, power will change hands. We shall be having a new president. Oath taking, swearing in will happen, and of course, the new president will take to the stand. Of course, ladies and gentlemen, we're waiting for that moment.
It's what time does. Time. So what a moment in history that is for the country and those involved in it.
Well, the last moments now for anybody who hasn't arrived to quickly arrive. You can see right there the governor of Imo State arriving there with his wife. One of the states where an inauguration will not be happening today because they have an off-season election. He's still governor until much later this year when another election will be happening in his state. So last moments right there for those who have not yet arrived. You also still see, I mean, attention is on the state box right now, but what you cannot see other parts of the square where lots of people have been arriving in their numbers as we speak. The square is currently almost saturated by the people, the dignitaries who have been invited for these occasions, and Nigerians and non-Nigerians alike from all walks of life in different parts of the square are already seated, taking their seats as the bus is bringing them from the old parade ground where they have been told to converge upon. And you can still see there that lineup. Oh yes, they're trying to show you Nigerians from all walks of life who are currently waiting for the events to start. But you can also still see there that lineup and the security cordon that has been done, waiting in arrival for the president, the CNC, who is expected anytime soon to be in the square. And I can tell you that when he comes, his presence will not be mistaken for that of any other person who has arrived, because the bagpipes will immediately usher him with a distinct and very special sound. Gentlemen.
Absolutely. When you said Nigerians from Usher to, I mean, we're seeing people from across the world. I can see persons from, obviously from Asia.
Asia, yeah. You don't want to say China. But yes, Asia.
Yeah, and all different persons from across the globe witnessing these very important occasions. You can see as much as seats are provided, I mean, this kind of event will also cut this kind of arrangement where people will love to just stand and just, you know, feel. I mean, when you're on this ground, there is a sense that this ground wants you to walk around. You want to just move around the ground. I don't know whether you feel the same.
But now they have to ensure that they look before they walk, because right now heavy security cordon and blankets in and around the square. Of course, for this purpose, it's very much understandable why that is the case. So, but all of them are all there waiting for the president. Just filed are waiting for the president's convoy to arrive, which we can hear now.
And a lot of people see arriving.
That's the president's siren, right? The convoy.
And now you can hear the siren.
Yes.
You can hear the siren.
So he's on his way.
Unmistakable. You can hear the siren, and any moment from now, the siren.
This is the loudest that we have heard today, and perhaps also the ones with a difference.
Yes, indeed. Well, in a moment, those sirens will come down,
and everyone will be on their feet.
This is just outside of the perimeters of the Eagle Square, just behind the road that leads from the presidential villa up to the Eagle Square. This is what you see now. The outriders leading the president, the CNC, the #1 citizen. It's going to be for another hour or so or less. But then, for the moment, Malkwe, the nation is waiting, the world is watching, and yet we will be seeing what will become a very historical moment in Nigeria.
They're right here in the square now.
Absolutely.
They're right here in the square now. You might see a mini display. You might be seeing a mini display of the outriders. And any moment from now, those sirens wailing will give way to the distinctive bagpipes, which will usher in the president. You can already see them standing at attention, waiting.
Wow, what a scenario that is. A beautiful sight.
Yes, the police officers on horseback. Those are police officers on horseback, holding the Nigerian flag, hoisting the Nigerian flag, marching in and bringing in the president, the CNC. Yes, indeed. They're leading his entourage there into the Eagle Square. Any moment from now, they will be in here.
Of course, this might be the longest drive from the house for the president for the final moment when he will be carrying that title and when he will be able to sound a command to the Nigerian military. That is the vehicle conveying President Muhammadu Buhari.
You might wonder what kind of emotions will be going through his mind. What will he be thinking now?
His smiles will be different. His thoughts are going to be wider than normal because he's going to be thinking about so many things at the same time.
When he walks on that
memories
carpet
and flashes of past events of the last 8 years will keep coming to his mind.
8 years in a flash.
I'm telling you, this is a moment when your mind will play more than a videotape or a computer machine just in seconds. It plays you so many memories and images at the same time. And there we have it.
There you go. So
this
it's going to be
a moment.
So historic one.
Yeah.
Been led in by policemen on horseback.
Nobody gets this kind of honor or this kind of what would you call it? A military parade before them than the president, and this is what a lot of people campaign for.
Because I mean, we saw the pace with which the advance team came through, but this, you have to just take it in.
Very regal, very solemn.
Yeah.
Coming in gradually into the square for the last time as President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces. And any moment from now, he will highlight from that vehicle and go and take his salute. And then the national anthem will be played in full. We heard it played, an abridged version for the Vice President for the last time as Vice President. And we'll be hearing it in full, which will also signal the commencement of this event today.
All right. That is the buzz of the military music that is playing in the background. So ushering him. So you said the bagpipe is already They're taking their position and they're already playing their thing there. And this is solemn. This is majestic. This might be slower than usual, but it's for a final moment when President Buhari will walk into this arena or drive into the arena. An interesting thing is, it might not even be convened with the same vehicle that brought him here back.
No, he will not.
Yeah, it will not.
Yeah.
At least for what we know, the coat of arms will not be on that vehicle any longer. And even the chair upon which he will be sitting for the next 40 minutes, it may not be what he will be sitting going forward. This is the traditional and the protocol for which this transition period of our process will take.
So the entire Eagle Square, beholding this moment in history where the President, Muhammadu Buhari, will be handing over to the President-elect.
As a civilian of government in Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, born in Daura, Katsina State, as one of those few that are lucky to have governed this country, and both in the military uniform as a civilian head. Ladies and gentlemen, is going to get its military salute, a full compliment indeed.
Officers and warrant officers in uniform are to salute. Thank you.
L'hymne national nigérian.
Please take your seats. Thank you. May I crave the indulgence of the Commander Gas Brigade to invite the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces to take his seat at the VIP stand. The Commander, sir.
Veuillez vous asseoir, s'il vous plaît. Le commandant de brigade de garde nigériane doit inviter son Excellence, Président Muhammadu Buhari, de nous joindre ici Mesdames et messieurs, ça c'est une activité vraiment très kaléidoscopique. C'est une activité très riche, une activité historique dans l'histoire du Nigeria. Le président Muhammadu Buhari, toujours souriant, il est là. Saluer le président élu, le Jagaban.
Your Excellencies, most distinguished invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, the national salute we listened to a while ago heralded the arrival of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, President Muhammadu Buhari, on this auspicious event. And with the arrival of the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, we shall now proceed event on our program, which is the opening prayers. At this point, permit me to respectfully invite the Imam of National Mosque, Dr. Mohammed Kabir, and Bishop Stephen Adekite to proceed for the opening prayers.
Excellences, invités distingués, mesdames et messieurs, maintenant c'est à moi l'honneur d'inviter respectueusement l'imam de la mosquée nationale d'Abuja, le professeur Shehu Galadosh et le président de l'association des chrétiens du Nigeria, l'archevêque Daniel Oko, pour la prière d'ouverture. Je vous remercie.